Hold on. Let me make sure everyone is seeing me on both Facebook and YouTube. Let me first of all fix the Facebook. Give me a little time. I'll greet all of you. Hey, YouTube. Let me first of all fix the Facebook. A lot of people are waiting already. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. Give me one more minute. Okay. Oh, I need my phone right here because I have to invite my guests and view on YouTube. Oh, yes. If you are just joining me, please start inviting people. Start inviting people. Okay? Share this video. Invite people to join today live streaming. Amechi Paul, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Amechi Paul is already here. Oh my God, can let's all know how you're already here. You are welcome to today's program. Permit me to get my phone because I need to invite my guests. Let me put the link out there in case I find it difficult to invite the guests. She will just click on the link and they join us stress free. All right. Please give me a little bit of time. This is the link to the live streaming. Okay. Link to the live stream. Please bear with me. I am so very nervous talking about this topic because I am a victim. So it's a topic I don't want to talk about, but it must be talked about. Please. Let me give me time, okay? Everything will be fine. Like it will work out very good. Today we are talking about um domestic violence. You can call it abuse, relationship abuse. That is the way everybody will understand. Abuse in the relationship, okay? Abuse in the relationship. That is what is called violence, domestic violence. Please give me a second to pick up my phone and make sure that my guest is here. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm here. So I'll be waiting for Miss Chelsea to join. All right. Thank you for that patient. I have to cover up his coat, so I'm trying to cover my legs. Yeah, I don't have a long pant on. All right. Everyone is welcome to Christiana Passion. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are watching me around the world, it's your baby girl, Christiana Passion. Yeah, and everyone was waiting to hear lean on me. Yeah, Christiana Passion. Please, if you have not invited anyone, do so for me now, please. I am begging because a lot of people. Oh, Chelsea is here. Okay. Okay, our guest is here. Chelsea, I'll mute you. Okay. Yes. Um, okay. Chelsea is muted. Chelsea is here already. So you are all welcome. This is very, very emotional for me to talk about because I am a victim. Or do I say I was a victim? Whichever one that suits you right. I made you welcome. Made you are the first to get here. You are welcome. So I am very, very, very emotional talking about domestic violence. Very, very emotional talking about it. So permit me to cry if I need to cry, okay? Please permit me, give me that permission to cry if I want to. Oh, sorry, I am muted, Chelsea. Give me the audience to cry, okay? Yes, I will like to, if I'm crying, don't say why is she crying. I am crying because I needed to cry. you know yeah, when you are a victim of something, regardless of how long it is, how, like in years or months, or the duration doesn't matter, you remain a victim. And I would have read a particular email to us today. When you are doing something, even if it is one person that have a testimony of what you are doing, you are achieving a lot. Okay, you are really achieving a lot. So on Lean on Me, I will treat that again. We treated on divorce. I remember getting an email from someone very, very far from America, telling me that she was a victim of violence and everything, and she walked away. She got a divorce in that marriage. That even before she could get out of that marriage, how we Africans, except especially we African, eh? We think about what people will say if I get out, what people will say, and you are dying in silence with what people will say. And she said she ran into my video. She never knew me before. She never watched my video before, but she ran into my video. And she said, this is an African person talking about divorce. We African, because we are so religious, too religious, we are more religious than even Jesus himself. We rather die in that abusive relationship than do what? Than to get out. So she said, when she saw that, she said, this is an African person talking about divorce. Then she sat down and listened very, very well, very, very attentively. She said that when she was done listening to me, that was when she made up her mind. She said, if an African person could talk about divorce, could tell me when to leave, I have suffered everything that this lady talked about, that she have suffered everything that I said on that video, that was when she knew it was time for her to leave. I will give you different testimonies about the domestic violence. I was a victim. My baby sister was a victim too. So I am here to tell you like a real story, a life story. So please take a minute to share this topic. You never can tell who you will save, whose life you will save. I always say it at the end of my program that if you see something wrong, say it. You never can tell whose life you will change or save. You never can tell. You might be shy. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. I have a couple of videos to play for us here today. Okay? Today I'm not rushing. I'm not going anywhere with today's program. I want to deal with it and end it. Okay? So I have a couple of videos I want to play to us here today. But before then, I will welcome my guest, our guest. Oh my God, my sister is no other person than that Chelsea that you always hear her voice. But before I welcome Chelsea, let me say hi to, don't you quit, you are welcome. So hello everyone, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you too. Amechi Paul, please, I want to ask question about cohabitation. Okay, the floor is open. You will ask, okay, when it is questioning time. Gertrude Okeke, good evening, ma'am, and everyone, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you, my darling sister. You are all welcome. Please take a minute and share this video while I welcome my sister, our beautiful sister, Chelsea Brown. Chelsea Brown, you are welcome to today's program. You can unmute yourself because I can see you muted yourself. Please, okay, you are welcome. Please, kindly
Hello, can you hear?
introduce yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can all hear you.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Okay. Hi, hello. Hi, Sister Christiana. Good evening. Hi, everybody in the
Hi,
comment
hi, hi.
section.
Yes.
And thank you for inviting me to your show.
Always welcome.
I
You are
think my
welcome.
internet is delaying. I'm not
That's
getting.
okay. We heard you live and clear. So I'll go ahead and mute you, okay? Yes. So, my darling people, my mama, Miss Catherine, you are welcome. Good evening. You are welcome. Happy Sunday to you too. Please take a moment and share today's video. It is very important. I am sharing. Please share it on your status, your WhatsApp, your Facebook, your TikTok, your anywhere you can, all your social media. Please share it for me. Okay? If this video can save just one life, maybe some other time I will read to you all the email I got from someone who listened to my divorce video and she wrote to me detailing. I wanted to read it today, but I'll let it slide. When I'll be treating abuse, when I'll be treating sexual abuse, I will bring that up. I have a lot of topics for us this year. All right? Please take only 1 second and share. I am sharing. If you are not sharing, I am sharing. You can see me, I have my phone, so I am sharing. I have to get up to go get my phone in order to share. Please join the program. I am sharing. Please join. I am sharing on Facebook. I'm sharing on my status. I am sharing it on all my social media because people need to be delivered. You never can tell someone who is crying, deep crying, like dying, doesn't know what to do now, who is going through domestic violence. You might think that this world is beautiful, like we see it with tall buildings, beautiful buildings. Wait until I play you the videos I have today. You will know. It doesn't matter if you are learned or not. People go through domestic violence. So I want to know, from the question, should it be tolerated? Your voices need to be heard. Okay. All right. Please, I'm sharing. Um, please join. Okay. I have shared there. Then now I will share on my Facebook page. It is very, very important we talk about all this. There is nothing to be shy about. It's nothing for you to be shy about. Oh, I don't want people to know I am going through this. You will die in it. And we don't pray for anyone to die in domestic violence. Please join. You can see I am taking my time to do this today. Like I am taking my real time because I am already emotional even before starting this program. So you're all welcome. I have shared, and I hope you too, you have shared it. Please invite people, tell people to come on and listen. I'll start with my own personal story first. When I was in Chicago, I was dating this guy called Pius. I want to call the name because you need to call violence by its name. Okay. I was dating this guy called Pius. I came to America very young, very, very young. So when he met me, we met on the elevator of our building. That was where we met. I could remember, even though it's like about 15 years back, I still remember vividly. We met on the elevator and he looked at me. Not now that I'm not pretty anymore. I used to be very pretty and skinny. Now I'm fat. Now I'm fat. I have chop up, so I'm fat. So I was so skinny, and he thought maybe I was underage, but then I was in my early 20s. So he was looking at me, and when we get off the elevator, he said, "Hi, hi." It doesn't matter who that person is. It doesn't matter if you are learned, he's handsome, she's pretty or something. They don't, violence is not written on anyone's faces. No. So he asked me, "Do I live here?" I say, "Yes, I just moved in here." What apartment? I told him my apartment number and everything, and we talked. He said, "What is your name? Can I give him my phone number?" I did. I didn't have a phone number of my own, but I had a landline number of the lady I was living with. So I gave him the number, and that was where our relationship kicked off. So, in the case of our discussion, I came to know that his big brother is a pastor in Lagos. Not just a pastor, a bishop. He owns a very big church in Lagos. Okay. And my daddy too is a pastor. I was so happy. I said, "Yeah, finally. Oh, yeah, I like this guy because he's from a Christian home and everything." I was just looking at, and I am from a very poor background, very, very poor. Like I always tell you, I am from a wretched background, very, very wretched. Poor senior wretched. So from a very wretched background, and he's from a very good background. He's doing good for himself. So I was like, "Oh, finally, maybe if things," I was thinking in my head, "Oh, maybe when if things worked out for us, we will get married, and he will help my family." All I was thinking about was my family, my family, my family, and that is the mentality a lot of us has. We think about, "Oh, when my daughter marries a rich man, whether the rich man is killing that daughter of yours or not, you're just a rich person." Okay, if my daughter just marry a rich person, or this rich man coming for my daughter's hand in marriage, or my sister's hand in marriage, if she finally marry this person will help our family. We become selfish, and out of it we let our loved ones, our daughters, our sisters to marry an abusive person. Even while they were still dating, courting, your sister is telling you, this person, look at this person's behavior. But you're like, my dear, you have to marry him. Oh, if you marry him, he will help our family. And your daughter or your sister will end up in that relationship because they want her family to be good. All right. So this guy, we it kick up, we started talking and everything. I start sensing some abusive attitudes from him. But because I had made up my mind that if things worked out for us, probably he will help my family. Oh, why did my hold on, please? My camera, it says, is unplugged. Please hold on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please let me know you can hear me. I'm so sorry about that. My camera went off for a reason I don't know. Can you hear me? Hello, Miss Chelsea. Can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. So, sorry, my camera went off and came back. I'm so sorry. I had to refresh. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and mute you again. Okay. Yeah. So please give me time to bring back my video, um, the first video I needed to play. Okay. 11. Oh, okay.
I'm here today to talk about a disturbing question, which has an equally disturbing answer.
Please listen to this before we go into the main discussion. Okay? Yes.
My topic is the secrets of domestic violence. And the question I'm going to tackle is the one question everyone always asks. Why does she stay? Why would anyone stay with a man who beats her? I'm not a psychiatrist, a social worker, or an expert in domestic violence. I'm just one woman with a story to tell. I was 22. I had just graduated from Harvard College. I'd moved to New York City for my first job as a writer and editor at 17 magazine. I had my first apartment, my first little green American Express card, and I had a very big secret. My secret was that I had this gun, loaded with hollow point bullets, pointed at my head by the man who I thought was my soulmate, many, many times. The man who I loved more than anybody on earth held a gun to my head and threatened to kill me more times than I can even remember. I'm here to tell you the story of crazy love, a psychological trap disguised as love, one that millions of women and even a few men fall into every year. It may even be your story. I don't look like a typical domestic violence survivor. I have a BA in English from Harvard College, an MBA in marketing from Wharton Business School. I spent most of my career working for Fortune 500 companies, including Johnson & Johnson, Leo Burnett, and the Washington Post. I've been married for almost 20 years to my second husband, and we have 3 kids together. My dog is a black lab, and I drive a Honda Odyssey minivan. So my first message for you is that domestic violence happens to everyone. All races, all religions, all income and education levels. It's everywhere. And my second message is that everyone thinks domestic violence happens to women, that it's a women's issue. Not exactly. Over 85% of abusers are men. And domestic abuse happens only in intimate, interdependent, long-term relationships. In other words, in families. The last place we would want or expect to find violence, which is one reason domestic abuse is so confusing. I would have told you myself that I was the last person on earth who would stay with a man who beats me. But in fact, I was a very typical victim because of my age. I was 22. And in the United States, women ages 16 to 24 are 3 times as likely to be domestic violence victims as women of other ages. And over 500 women and girls this age are killed every year by abusive partners, boyfriends and husbands in the United States. I was also a very typical victim because I knew nothing about domestic violence, its warning signs or its patterns. I met Connor on a cold, rainy January night. He sat next to me on the New York City subway, and he started chatting me up. He told me 2 things. One was that he too had just graduated from an Ivy League school, and that he worked at a very impressive Wall Street bank. But what made the biggest impression on me that first meeting was that he was smart and funny, and he looked like a farm boy. He had these big cheeks, these big apple cheeks, and this wheat blonde hair, and he seemed so sweet. One of the smartest things Connor did from the very beginning was to create the illusion that I was the dominant partner in the relationship. He did this, especially at the beginning, by idolizing me. We started dating, and he loved everything about me. That I was smart, that I'd gone to Harvard, that I was passionate about helping teenage girls and my job. He wanted to know everything about my family and my childhood, my hopes and dreams. Connor believed in me as a writer and a woman in a way that no one else ever had. And he also created a magical atmosphere of trust between us by confessing his secret, which was that as a very young boy, starting at age 4, he had been savagely and repeatedly physically abused by his stepfather. And the abuse had gotten so bad that he had had to drop out of school in 8th grade, even though he was very smart. And he'd spent almost 20 years rebuilding his life, which is why that Ivy League degree and the Wall Street job and his bright, shiny future meant so much to him. If you had told me that this smart, funny, sensitive man who adored me would one day dictate whether or not I wore makeup, how short my skirts were, where I lived, what jobs I took, who my friends were, and where I spent Christmas, I would have laughed at you. Because there was not a hint of violence or control or anger in Connor at the beginning. I didn't know that the first stage in any domestic violence relationship is to seduce and charm the victim. I also didn't know that the second step is to isolate the victim. Now, Connor did not come home one day and announce, hey, all this Romeo and Juliet stuff has been great, but I need to move into the next phase where I isolate you and I abuse you. So I need to get you out of this apartment where the neighbors can hear you scream, and out of this city where you have friends and family and coworkers who can see the bruises. Instead, Connor came home one Friday evening, and he told me that he had quit his job that day, his dream job. And he said that he had quit his job because of me, because I had made him feel so safe and loved that he didn't need to prove himself on Wall Street anymore. And he just wanted to get out of this city and away from his abusive, dysfunctional family and move to a tiny town in New England where he could start his life over with me by his side. Now, the last thing I wanted to do was leave New York and my dream job. But I thought you made sacrifices for your soulmate. So I agreed, and I quit my job, and Connor and I left Manhattan together. I had no idea I was falling into crazy love, that I was walking headfirst into a carefully laid physical, financial, and psychological trap. The next step in the domestic violence pattern is to introduce the threat of violence and see how she reacts. And here's where those guns come in. As soon as we moved to New England, that place where Connor was supposed to feel so safe, he bought 3 guns. He kept one in the glove compartment of our car. He kept one under the pillows on our bed. And the third one he kept in his pocket at all times. And he said that he needed those guns because of the trauma he'd experienced as a young boy. He needed them to feel protected. But those guns were really a message for me. And even though he hadn't raised a hand to me, my life was already in grave danger every minute of every day. Connor first physically attacked me 5 days before our wedding. It was 7 a.m. I still had on my nightgown. I was working on my computer trying to finish a freelance writing assignment, and I got frustrated. And Connor used my anger as an excuse to put both of his hands around my neck and to squeeze so tightly that I could not breathe or scream. And he used the chokehold to hit my head repeatedly against the wall. 5 days later, the 10 bruises on my neck had just faded, and I put on my mother's wedding dress, and I married him. Despite what had happened, I was sure we were going to live happily ever after, because I loved him, and he loved me so much. And he was very, very sorry. He had just been really stressed out by the wedding and by becoming a family with me. It was an isolated incident, and he was never going to hurt me again. It happened twice more on the honeymoon. The first time, I was driving to find a secret beach, and I got lost. And he punched me in the side of my head so hard that the other side of my head repeatedly hit the driver's side window. And then a few days later, driving home from our honeymoon, he got frustrated by traffic, and he threw a cold Big Mac in my face. Connor proceeded to beat me once or twice a week for the next 2.5 years of our marriage. I was mistaken in thinking that I was unique and alone in this situation. 1 in 3 American women experiences domestic violence or stalking at some point in her life. And the CDC reports that 15 million children are abused every year. 15 million. So actually, I was in very good company. Back to my question. Why did I stay? The answer is easy. I didn't know he was abusing me. Even though he held those loaded guns to my head, pushed me downstairs, threatened to kill our dog, pulled the key out of the car ignition as I drove down the highway, poured coffee grinds on my head as I dressed for a job interview. I never once thought of myself as a battered wife. Instead, I was a very strong woman in love with a deeply troubled man, and I was the only person on earth who could help Connor face his demons. The other question everybody asks is, why doesn't she just leave? Why didn't I walk out? I could have left any time. To me, this is the saddest and most painful question that people ask, because we victims know something you usually don't. It's incredibly dangerous to leave an abuser, because the final step in the domestic violence pattern is kill her. Over 70% of domestic violence murders happen after the victim has ended the relationship, after she's gotten out, because then the abuser has nothing left to lose. Other outcomes include long-term stalking, even after the abuser remarries, denial of financial resources, and manipulation of the family court system to terrify the victim and her children, who are regularly forced by family court judges to spend unsupervised time with the man who beat their mother. And still we ask, why doesn't she just leave? I was able to leave because of one final sadistic beating that broke through my denial. I realized that the man who I loved so much was going to kill me if I let him. So I broke the silence. I told everyone. The police, my neighbors, my friends and family, total strangers. And I'm here today because you all helped me. We tend to stereotype victims as grisly headlines, self-destructive women, damaged goods. The question, why does she stay, is code for some people for it's her fault for staying. As if victims intentionally choose to fall in love with men intent upon destroying us. But since publishing Crazy Love, I have heard hundreds of stories from men and women who also got out, who learned an invaluable life lesson from what happened, and who rebuilt lives, joyous, happy lives, as employees, wives, and mothers, lives completely free of violence. Like me, because it turns out that I'm actually a very typical domestic violence victim and a typical domestic violence survivor. I remarried a kind and gentle man. We have those 3 kids. I have that black lab, and I have that minivan. What I will never have again, ever, is a loaded gun held to my head by someone who says that he loves me. Now, right now, maybe you're thinking, wow, this is fascinating. Or, wow, how stupid was she? But this whole time, I've actually been talking about you. I promise you, there are several people listening to me right now who are currently being abused, or who were abused as children, or who are abusers themselves. Abuse could be affecting your daughter, your sister, your best friend right now. I was able to end my own crazy love story by breaking the silence. I'm still breaking the silence today. It's my way of helping other victims. And it's my final request of you. Talk about what you heard here. Abuse thrives only in silence. You have the power to end domestic violence simply by shining a spotlight on it. We victims need everyone. We need every one of you to understand the secrets of domestic violence. Show abuse the light of day by talking about it with your children, your coworkers, your friends and family. Recast survivors as wonderful, lovable people with full futures. Recognize the early signs of violence and conscientiously intervene, de-escalate it, show victims a safe way out. Together, we can make our beds, our dinner tables, and our families the safe and peaceful oases they should be. Thank
Ooh. Hello, my sister Chelsea.
Hello.
Yes,
Can you hear
I,
me?
yes, we can hear you. Yes. I started
Okay.
today's show by playing that video. Okay? So now
Yeah.
I want us to get into the discussion. I have two more videos to play. But after listening or
Okay.
watching this video, so touching. Yes, my brother is so touching. Amechi Paul is so touching. What do you think that domestic violence is? And should it be tolerated?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for, first of all, for inviting me to your show. I am privileged and I appreciate. Um, Domestic violence, first of all, is also known as a family violence. It occurs when someone uses violence or manipulation to maintain power and control over someone they are close to. And this someone can be your uh, family, can be your family member. Your abuser can be your ex partner. Your abuser can be your your carer, your guardian, or anyone that is close to you. That's who your abuser could be. And you can also find yourself in abusive relationship, not just only in marriage. That's why in the beginning I said domestic violence can also be family violence, because when people think of domestic violence, some of the people just think it's only for married people. Absolutely no. It's also in your relationship as well. And it can, in this domestic violence, it can be through violence, through intimidation, threats, insults, or psychological manipulation. So I would say that if you are going through this, a bit of what I just said, it's not, it shouldn't be accepted. Whether you are the one directly involved, or is a someone close to you, or is even if it's a friend or a total stranger that you witness, maybe your neighbor you don't talk to, but you witness such thing, you shouldn't condone it. It is something you should frown over. So that is my definition for
Thank you.
domestic violence. And you can
Thank
have,
you.
like I said, you can have different types of domestic violence. But as we go on, I can give you a list of the different types as well.
Thank you, sister. Thank you so much. So, um, I will play another video. You know, the first lady said she doesn't look like a victim. Like I was telling my story, that as time went on, I started seeing some abusive kind of attitude from that guy, Pious, but I kept quiet. I was hoping that this thing will lead to marriage. I'll be telling my story as this program goes on. Please, if you have not shared this video, I think this is the best time for you to share this program. Please do that, okay? I want people to be liberated. I want people to be liberated of this thing called domestic violence. And I want people to hear from me, my own story. Okay? Yeah, I was jotting a lot of things down while the lady was narrating her story. Now I will show you someone who looked like a domestic violent victim. That is the next video we are going to watch. Enjoy.
Someone you want to get married to. If I didn't hear the sound of the gun, I believe his aim was to shoot me here, and that would have been the end of me. I look at my phone, my screensaver. I saw what I look like before now and what I am right now. For all thanks to God. All thanks to God. October 1st, we had the program in church, so after service, I went back home, but I was living with my fiancé. His name is Eze Awansova. There was no issue, we don't have fights. I saw him off and he went, but later in the evening, his pastor called me that he would love to see me. I said, okay. So he came around to check me. He took me to his office. The pastor now told him to say, you should say what he told him. And I said, he's not interested, I don't want the relationship anymore. I said, it's fine. If he said he's not interested, no problem. I cannot force a man to get married to me. So the person I said, okay. I was saying because he has traveled as far as to go and get the marriage list. My family knows him. And where I was saying, I've already moved my change because I'm supposed to get married December. I cannot go back to that place because I've left the house. That's I'll need to get another apartment. So I went to a friend of mine house in Ketu. On the 8th, I was actually going to look for an apartment. So on my way coming to Oga, it's call me that he wants to see me. I said, when? I said I should come around Allen. So I went. When I got there, we sat down. We took one bottle of drink. So after then, and I said the reason why he called me that he wants to tell me that I should stop telling people that he's no more interested. And I said, okay, no problem. Well, before we sat down, he was carrying his rifle. It was half dressed. He was carrying the rifle. So before we sat down, he removed the magazine from the gun, placed on the table. So I stood up. He took the magazine from the table, shook it in the gun, paid for the drink. So while we were now going, I was 2 steps ahead of him. The call of the agent came in. So I was receiving the call when I had him cock the gun. So I looked like why the cocking of the gun. So I just turned my side. That was when the bullets went in and came out. I lost consciousness. Sorry. I saw they had to slit my throat for them to fix in a fight. So I could able to lie down. So they did that. They did the first surgery. After the first surgery, after a week, they did another surgery because the nurse made a mistake. I'm so grateful to Nigerians. I am so grateful. I used to think we don't have good people in this country, to be honest. But while I was in the hospital bed, what I have in my account was 8,000 naira. But while I was in the hospital bed, money was coming in. Nigerians were sending money. Someone sent 500 naira, someone sent 1,000 naira, someone sent 1,500. Those money went a long way for me to be alive today. And so far, the money that Nigerians, as in the money that was used for the surgery, is not small money. It's not. It's not. Just for the trees now, they said they're going to do a six transplant. They're looking up to 3 million to 4 million to do a six transplant.
Whew. I don't want to get more emotional watching this. Miss Chelsea, you watched that, right? That little clip.
Yeah, that's that was, I don't know. I'm short of words.
Oh,
That was
yes.
I don't even know what word to use. I'm telling you.
Yes. I don't want to
Ah,
go. I
that
don't
was
want to
really
go. I
painful.
don't
It's
I can't
really
I don't even want to
tragedy.
play it to the end. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't want to watch this to the end. Okay? I want to end it right now because I have one more to play. Oh, so my sister Chelsea, Amechi said the first I
Yeah.
watched this video last, I don't get myself. Yeah. Nobody will get his or herself after watching this video. Maybe I'll
Ah,
play it later, but I think now I need to stop because it's getting deep down in me. As I was saying that, I started seeing a kind of abusive word from that guy, Pius. I kept quiet because I thought if this could lead to something, marriage, he will help my family until one day we went for a no, it started with then I was a certified nursing assistant, what we call auxiliary nursing in Nigeria. He held my ID card. He was driving me to work. I wasn't driving then. He was driving me to work and he took my ID card from my neck. He said, how I wish they can take out this C and take out that A and put R. So it will be RN. That means he wasn't certified of me being just an auxiliary nurse. I look at him, I say, where did this one now come from? I kept quiet because I thought I was in love. I didn't see anything wrong with that statement. I kind of laughed over it. Miss Chelsea, you say you will tell us the signs of domestic violence. Please, can you give us the signs of domestic violence? What we need to look out in domestic violence. The floor is yours.
first of all, before I talk about the signs of domestic violence, I need to state the types of domestic violence or anarchy.
Okay, sister, you will give
Uh,
us the type now, and later I will ask for the signs. Let's do the types first of all. Thank you so much.
all right. The types of domestic violence, we have physical abuse. Physical abuse involve slapping, punching, kicking, shaking, pushing. It can also sometimes involve weapons, objects, and also when throwing objects at you, throwing maybe denying you of food, and destruction of property in the house. That is a physical abuse. But sometimes we don't know that people destroying property, that is that's a physical abuse. Some people just think, oh, because the person is angry, that is already an abuse. Then also we have sexual abuse. Sexual abuse is, it comes in rape, unwanted or forced sexual activities, sexual threats, insults, restricting access to contraceptions, or refusing to wear a condom. Those are sexual abuse. Then also we have the verbal abuse. In the verbal abuse, it involves intimidation, verbal attacks, threats, insults, name calling, yelling, or humiliation. So it can also be related to body shape. That's like when you body shame somebody. Sexuality also, you can, when you shame someone's sexuality, that is also a verbal abuse. Then we have the psychological, or also called emotional abuse. Then in this one, you have blaming, ignoring a person, treating the person as inferior, frequently saying their behavior is inappropriate, questioning their sense of reality, emotional blackmail, or suicide threats. And the person who infused this abuse, which is the abuser, or if you want to say, you can say the predator, might also be a stalker, spying on you, following you, maybe tracing you everywhere you go, monitoring your emails, monitoring your phone calls, using GPS tracking on you. These all fall under psychological and emotional abuse. Then we also have the social isolation, isolating the victim from their family and friends, such as forbidding them to communicate or even say what's happening to you in the house, maybe to your friends or your parents, preventing you to contact anybody around you, making sure that you are just only communicating with them alone. And also there's ongoing rudeness to your family or your friends. The perpetrator might even insist that the person move far away, just like that lady at the beginning of the video. That's a social isolation it was doing to her, but she didn't see that red flag at that beginning. That's a red flag already, trying to isolate you. But she,
Yes.
in that video, she claimed she didn't know. She thought she was in love. That was isolation. It was trying to isolate her to a place they would just be alone. She will not get contact with friends and family, or people will not notice his behavior. So that is under social isolation. Then we also have financial abuse as well. That lady also spoke of financial abuse. In this under financial abuse, we also have maintaining control of family finances. The abuser always maintain the finance. He doesn't want you to get involved. It restricts it restricts you access to bank accounts or your wages. When you receive your wages, it receive it. They don't want you to take anything from your wages or pension, or providing, it just provide you little allowances so that you will not be able to do something with that money it gives you, or hiding assets from you so that you don't know you have some assets that it belongs to your family, or sabotaging you not to get jobs. Maybe you are trying to get a job, is trying to sabotage every interview you go to so that nobody will employ you. You will depend on them fully. Then also we have Spiritual abuse. For my
Hmm.
Nigerian people who are not spiritual, we have spiritual abuse as well.
Yeah.
In spiritual abuse, you are ridicule a person in their religion beliefs and cultural beliefs. You ridicule them. You are preventing them from being part of a religion, probably the one they want, any of the religion they are interested in, and also you are restricting them from maybe a cultural group or something they want to get involved in. That is spiritual abuse. Then we also have child abuse.
Hmm.
We also have child abuse. Child abuse involves physical and sexual abuse. Neglect is an abuse under child abuse. Verbal, emotional abuse on a child. Then we have elderly abuse as well.
Yes.
In elderly abuse, we have it's similar to child abuse, but directly at elderly people. That's the difference. Then finally, we also have the neglect. The neglect, under neglect, is often failing to meet basic
Basic needs.
physical and psychological needs of a person. You are caring, for example, let's say such as a child, for example, you might include failing to protect them. It might include failing to protect them from physical harm, endangerment, stopping them from getting medical care, or stopping them, also neglecting them in the house, probably leaving a child in the house that is not old enough to be alone in the house. Then maybe depriving them from meals, using that as a punishment upon them. That is already an abuse, neglect abuse, unresponsive to and other person's basic emotional needs as well. So those are the types of abuse.
Oh, thank you so much, my sister. You are so detailed about this type. I was just thinking in my head, is it only types? Just types we are talking like this, and is ranging and ranging and ranging and ranging. Just types. Okay. So when you are talking about isolation and the rest of it, I was seeing myself in that. So my story continues. The same time I saw I saw the sign of this abuse in that guy, Pious, was one time. Anyway, it got to a time we moved from the city to the south side of Chicago. We moved from the north side to the south side of Chicago. That would take me, taking train would take me like about 2 hours to get home. We moved. And I remember his cousin was living in the same, not living with him, but sharing apartment with him, like a different room, and he was in a different room. So I remember one day we went for grocery shopping. We went to buy food items. And when we arrived home, I was carrying that bag and another bag and another bag. So we got our 25 kg of rice. And I said, I was carrying everything. We bought a lot of stuff. We was me. I bought a lot of stuff. Like when Chelsea was talking about financial abuse and everything, they will make you spend your own money. This is the second time I saw the sign. But remember, I told you I was hoping this might lead to something called marriage. And maybe I will change him. That is another mistake we make, thinking that you can change someone. So, the second time, I was not carrying all those stuffs. And I said, Pius, please help me to carry this rice. Remember, I had all that grocery, like how many bags? I was dragging myself. Look at my little person. Not now that I'm big even. I said, please. He was walking in front of me and I was coming behind. I said, please, can you help me carry this rice? Do you know this guy looked back? Guess what? He asked me. I will say it exactly how he said it, and I will explain it in Queen's English. He asked me, he said, you no get respect you. Shey na like that your mama dey take send your papa message. You no get respect you. Shey na like that your mama dey take send your papa message. Meaning that I don't have respect. Is that how my mother sends my dad an errand? Guess what? He finished talking and he kept walking. I left that bag of rice. I went back. I took all the bags I had. I took it upstairs and came back and carried that bag of rice. So I will have respect for him and not act like as he asked me, my mother, if so I won't send him an errand if that was how my mother was sending my father an errand. So, my sister, Miss Chelsea,
Yeah.
with where my story has gotten so far, what do
Yes.
you think are the signs people need to look out to before they think, oh, this might be a violence against my
Yeah.
person?
Okay. There are different types of signs, like I said. That's why I listed the types of abuses first, because
Yes,
you might not notice. If you know the types of abuse, you will know the sign immediately when you
yes,
start seeing it happening. For example, if some people will not beat you, they will not physically hurt you. They will not physically hurt you. So how will you know? Because you don't know the types of abuse, so you can't even know. You will think it's only physical. When somebody hits you, that's when it's an abuse. No, it is not. For example, when in physical, for example, you when you see somebody coming out with multiple injuries repeatedly, you notice someone is having repeatedly injuries, then you should start suspecting that something is going on there. Even if it's you that is happening to, every time any small thing you are knocked, any small thing you are knocked, you should know that it's already an abuse already. You should already know that is an abuse. Or you see someone with having marks such as bruises or fingernails crashes or cigarette burns on the person, you should start suspecting something is wrong.
especially the
The other
children.
side, yes, especially for children.
Yeah,
Then even for adults, sometimes you will see
yeah,
them with
the
black
adults,
eye.
the aged
When you ask them,
adults.
they will say, I fall from the
I
stairs and like that. They
fell.
don't want to say.
I fell.
They will say, I knocked
Oh.
my face on the door, or I knocked my this thing. You should know that that is not normal. It can give you that kind of eye to someone. The signals of domestic violence you can notice is that they have, you can find the person losing confidence in their self.
Hmm.
Maybe if it's somebody, okay, like now you know that I'm outspoken, for example. Now
Yeah.
suddenly you see me always quiet.
Quiet.
Then you should start pushing that person to speak what is going on, because it's unusual for this person to be quiet, to be
Yes.
withdrawn suddenly.
Yes.
You should know that is a sign the person is going through an abuse. Then also, excuse me,
Sure.
then also, you see the person or someone's partner is afraid of the partner. They are afraid of that partner. Then you should know that is a sign. Then when you notice also the person is trying to stop you from seeing your friends or family, or even if you are the friend and you notice your friend is will stop seeing you suddenly without no quarrel, without nothing, suddenly they are withdrawn. This is a sign as well that that person is in an abusive relationship, or uh, you are going through the abuse already from your partner. Then you also see that the partner often criticizes them, or he criticizes you. Your partner is always criticizing you, humiliating you in public, even amongst friends. They will just bring you down. They bring you down. They make all the decision. They don't even consult you to make decision. They just take everything as if it's their own,
Yeah.
put you aside. You should know that those are signs of domestic violence already. Those are signs already.
Yeah.
Then your partner controls how the other person spends money on things, tells you you should not spend money. It only tells you what to buy, or tell you what to wear, because there are some partners, especially that happens with male to women more. They will tell the women that this dressing, I don't want you to dress like this is how I want you to look like. They always, most of them always do that to the female. But that does not mean that men are not being abused. Or I'm not saying that for correction purpose. We men also go through abuse.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I'm just pointing that out because it's so common with male telling female what to wear most of the time. Then they often talk also they often talk about their partner's bad behavior. If your friend or someone close to you is always talking about how their partner is bad, their behavior is bad, they are jealous all the time, or they might regular accuse the other person of flirting or being unfaithful. All these are the signs. These are signs you should watch out for. These are signs. Even if you are a friend looking from outside, these are signs you should watch out for your close members of your family or your friends around you, if they are going through all this. Because some people might not be able to talk, but if you notice, they might speak up as well. If you notice,
Yes.
then they say their partner is putting pressure on them or forcing them into sexual activities they don't like, because there are some partners who has this sick fantasy. Sometimes you don't know they are sick until you are living with them in the house as husband and wife, or having a relationship with them. That's when you discover they have some sick fantasy. They want some sexual activities that you yourself might not even want to even dream or even think of in your lifetime.
Yes.
Those are already signs as well. They want to force you to do such thing with them. Then you also have signs of a, like I said, bruises. I've said those ones before. Broken bones. someone is always going to the hospital, always landing the hospital all the time, you should start to investigate that something is going on. Then for children, they seem afraid. For example, that is very constant with kids. They see a
Yeah.
particular person, you see them crying,
Yes.
withdrawing, they don't want to hear this person, they shock. It's
Mm.
like they saw the devil itself. Then you should know that something is going on with that child and that
Yes.
adult as well. You should
Yes.
start talking to that child to tell you what's going on so that they can speak up. So those are the signs I have for this question.
Thank you so much, my sister. I have one more video I will play, but I want to add that there are stages of domestic violence. Or Chelsea, do you want to talk about the stages? Do you have the stages, or you want me to talk about that?
No, you can say it. It doesn't
Okay.
matter if I have
Oh,
to.
okay. Okay. Yes. So there are stages too that you have to look out. I would have started the stages first, but I love the way I started. So the stages of violence, domestic violence, number one is the honeymoon stage. Mhm. Like honeymoon. Everything seems good, you know, like me. I was seeing everything. It was looking good. You are sensing this person talking to you, it will just do it like once in a while, but because you are blindfolded with love, you let it slide because you are loving that person. You don't want to believe, like the woman, the first video we saw said that if you tell her that her very loving spouse will one day lay a hand on her, she will laugh at you. I was that person. This guy, Pius, will be traveling to Nigeria. Remember, I told you I was just an auxiliary nurse, a CNA. He will tell me, Christy, you know, sir, they travel. I say, yes. No spend money. No spend money. Like all the money I was working, I shouldn't spend it. Because you know I have projects in Nigeria. But I was smart enough. Whenever he take my money, I will write it down. Whenever he say, give me money, I will make sure I do it with a check. So I'll have accountability. I didn't know that maybe tomorrow I will need that money. But I have always been a smart girl. Yes, I'm not praising myself. I have always been a smart girl. I really want to study. I wanted to study law, but because of how wretched my family is, I couldn't study that. But I'm still begging my husband. I say, baby, please, I want to be a lawyer. I don't care how old I am now. This is my childhood dream. I want to be a lawyer. So to me, evidence to me has been everything. I know how to, I can collect evidence from you for years. You will not know I was collecting evidence. I really want to go into criminology. That is, I really want to go into it. Like, I really want to be a criminal lawyer. I don't want to be a military person. Even I went into military, but because of family, I decided to come out. Yes, I was in the Navy, US Navy. But I got to a point, I was thinking about family. What if I die? What will I be remembered from, of? And that was how I walked away. Like, I have to tell my recruiter, Mr. Griffin, that I was having a cold feet. And yes, I was having a cold feet. So I had to leave. Like, I really want to hold a criminal, like a violence person, like I'm talking today, because I was a victim. that I allow my voice to be used on YouTube today to speak out, to stand in between people and the world, is because I was a victim of many things. But today we are talking about domestic violence. So I will leave it in this space. So the next one, this person will start building up anger. Anything you talk, anytime you say, even the person don't want to hear your voice, is called build up of stress. Like you, this person, I have another word I wrote down for that, tension build up. Yes, this person will be building up tension for nothing. Anything you said, like the woman said that they were just lost. They were just lost driving and they got lost. The next thing she had on her head, boom! And this part of her head hit the car repeatedly. Bang, bang, bang. This stress start building up over nothing. But I still did nothing until the day he choked me. The day Pius choked my neck. I was like, oh, I couldn't breathe. He left me and went out. I was so scared. He has gone before I could remember to call the police. I was opportune to call the police because I was alive. So I told them he has gone out, he has walked away. They asked me his information and I gave to them. And I remember the police lady on the emergency number. She asked me, do you have a child for him? I said, no. Do you have any child that you need to pick up? I said, no. Do you have any document that you need to pick up from the house? He said, please, can you leave now? That was how I left. I left. That was how I left him. And I thought I have left. You will hear. Because the woman was talking about why people ask, why didn't you just leave? Why did she just leave? And she said that most of the deaths occur after you leave a violence or domestic violence, a violence relationship, an abusive relationship. I am telling you because I am a victim. Listen to me. And now it will not get, the build-up tension will not lead to anger and beating. And later after the beating, we go to reconciliation. It will not come back to you. Oh, I'm sorry. Like that woman said, I saw myself in her testimony. That's why I brought that video. They will beg you, oh, I'm sorry, I was so stressed about it. I was so stressed about ta. And you will believe them. And now we move to calm. Because you believe them, everything, you will not feel calm. You will feel safe. He has begged me. He said he was just stressed up. That was why he did it. And you will not stay in that abusive relationship. Because he begged me. Like Miss Chelsea said, when you see bruises on people's faces, they will tell you, I hit my head. Oh no, nobody did that to me. I fell. Yes, I know sometimes you can fall, but when you are hit, you are hit. I have one more video I want to play for us. And our sister Chelsea will tell me what else she think before we go. I think it's this one.
Another example of violence against women, and we know exactly the specifics of our case are unknown, rather, but we do know that according to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, on average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States, and that's 20 people per minute. So joining us now to give us some guidance and perspective on how to identify any of these situations and what, if anything, we should do if we witness domestic violence is the director of Futures Without Violence, Kirsten Stewart. Kirsten, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's start with the basics. We all know that abusive relationships don't all look alike. What are some of the key factors that you look for?
Absolutely. If you're a family or friend or even just a concerned member of the community, you want to notice if somebody's changing their behavior, if they seem to be afraid of their partner, if somebody who is enthusiastic and exuberant is all of a sudden very quiet or shy. Certainly if you see, bruises or cuts that can't be explained, but that isn't always the case. Sometimes the scars are very much inside. So if you do see or are concerned about domestic violence, ideally you can find a quiet time to talk to the person you're concerned about and really just ask them. We encourage people not to blame somebody, not to shame, to just make themselves available to have a conversation.
And in the Gabby Petito case specifically, we see that police cam video where she seems upset and he has scratches on his face. How can you differentiate whether someone is truly in danger versus a couple that's having an argument or having some sort of breakdown?
That is a hard question. And if you're, far away and out in public, you can't always tell. We suggest you always take your cue from the person who seems potentially to be the victim. Again, are they afraid of that person? Are they trying to avoid that person? Are they, sometimes the person who takes all the blame isn't necessarily the person who's doing the harm. So we always recommend that you try not to escalate the violence. You certainly don't want to do that. Getting in a confrontation with someone is not recommended. Again, ideally, you would try to take that person to the side. If you can separate the two people, have a conversation, offer resources. There's a national domestic violence hotline number that you can share. But really, it's about asking the person what they want, what they need, and if they feel safe.
So let's say, for example, a 911 call is made. What resources do police departments have to help victims and survivors? And are there specific police departments that have procedures that are best practices in this situation?
There's been extensive training thanks to the Violence Against Women Act for law enforcement. And that doesn't mean everybody does it perfectly right all the time. But we do see many better practices happening. One of the ideal situations is that you actually bring a domestic violence advocate out with you on a call for domestic violence so they can, take the person aside, have a conversation. You want police to de-escalate the situation as much as possible, question the people separate and apart from one another. Often if there are children in the home, we also ask that police officers pay attention to the needs of the children. Again, not asking the children to necessarily choose, one parent over another. That's a deeply traumatic experience for a child. But to be sure that there's also someone that the child can talk to and that the child's trauma from that experience is also addressed.
So much to consider. And yet we all know that when victims try to leave these types of relationships, that's when it's most dangerous. Mm-hmm. Many choose to stay in these relationships. What steps can be taken to ensure that there is safety both in or out of that relationship?
Well, we strongly recommend someone who's concerned about domestic violence to talk to a domestic violence advocate. They can help that person develop what we call a safety plan. And that really depends on the unique circumstances of that person. You help them identify, do you have a place to go if you need to? Do you know where your car keys are? Do you have what we call a go bag? Important, like your birth certificate, important papers, any medicines. So if you do need to leave a home quickly, you can just grab it and go. There are many domestic violence agencies across the country. As I said, there's also the National Domestic Violence Hotline who can be reached via email, via phone, via chat. It's a great place to start, even if you're not necessarily ready to leave, or if you're just a concerned friend or family member. They can walk you through the steps that are tied to this person's particular situation.
And if someone is seeking help, where do you counsel them to seek help first? What should the first step be?
So most people actually reach out to friend or family first. Some people will talk to their faith leaders. Healthcare providers, we think, are another wonderful resource. especially because you can have the privacy to talk to them about what may be going on, as well as what may be the health consequences of violence. Most people don't actually go to the police first. And again, we strongly recommend a call to a domestic violence advocate. Many domestic violence programs just have someone you can talk to. You don't have to be ready to leave the relationship or run to a shelter. It can just be a person to talk to start thinking about your situation and what might be your options.
Kirsten Stewart, so much valuable information. As the director of Futures Without Violence, thank you so much for your time.
All right. My sister Chelsea, you saw the last video. This is an expert. That's why I brought the video in. She is an expert. Watching her talk about, the same thing we are talking about, but because she is an expert, that's why I brought that video in. She see how she talk about,
Yeah.
people having control, power, and when to leave is the worst time is when to leave. So my question to
Yeah.
you is, sister, when do you think is the right time to leave a domestic violence relationship?
Okay. Well, it depends on when this abuse started.
Yes.
If, first of all, we need to start for those who have not experienced abuse, you need to start educating yourself now about it.
Hmm.
It will help you when you come across a partner who is abusive. Then, for those who are already having children, start teaching your kids
Hmm.
about abuse
Yes.
so that they too, before they grow up to be adults, they know all about abuse. So they will not fall prey to these abusers as well. Then for those who is already in a relationship that abuse has already started, then if you are just in the beginning of your relationship and the person or your partner just start to abuse you in any of those types of abuse, immediately you should get out,
Hmm.
get help, or talk to somebody you trust. Talk to a friend, talk to somebody. Maybe you might be feeling okay, doubt that probably is not abuse. Talk to somebody first, then the person will make you to analyze it properly, because sometimes you feel you are in love, but you might not be seeing clearly. But if you have a trusted person you can tell that
Yes.
such thing happened, then the person might help you to see it clearly that, my friend, this is not right. Then, because many people who in that first stage experience the first red flag, because
Hmm.
sometimes abuse might not just start immediately like hitting you.
No.
It comes like little things, like a mustard seed. It start coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you just say something, the person just provoke, start suspecting that kind of what made that person provoke because of this little thing I said that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
even involve any anger, that the person just take it like peg sinner.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you should start suspecting. Then also you start seeing behaviors, that these things that is not normal, like I said before. Suddenly the person is telling you, and you know what, this finance, I'm the one going to be in charge, don't
Mm-hmm.
worry. Try just start doing things that you know that
Like
this
in my
should not
case.
happen.
Yes.
Yeah, if you start seeing those signs early, you will not need to live in that relationship for very long for it to enter physical or
Hmm.
threatening stage. You
Yes.
will get out. immediately. But for some people, it might not start like that. Some people, it might just be a slap. That is the first
Wow.
abuse they ever experienced.
Yeah. And you hear
And
that
if you
oh,
happen to
it's the
be,
first time. It's the first time.
yeah,
I don't think he will do it again.
he will beg. He will say,
He
I'm
will beg.
sorry. I didn't mean
Yes.
it. You will see him so, he will suddenly return to a
Sober.
puppy,
Yeah.
as if he can't kill a fly. You start running now. You better start running. You better start running. Because immediately you forgive that, it will happen again. And the next one, maybe you break your head.
Yes.
It won't be a slap, the next one. But if it didn't even enter, like I said, physical,
Yeah.
there are some, for example, like I use finance now, and the person start telling you how that finance, immediately you should call the person to order. Immediately. Call the
I
person to
told
order. Don't tell
yeah.
me what to do with this. Immediately you shut that down, some will change,
You remember
but
I
some might
said
not
that
change.
in my own case, sister,
Yeah.
when Pius was traveling, he told me, make
Mm.
sure you know I am traveling. Do not spend any money. The money is not his money, the money I was
Yeah.
making. So he was, even while he was going to Nigeria, he was controlling me even from Nigeria. I hope you are not spending that money. You know, I'm half project. You know, you are not spending money. Right. So just like in my case.
Yes. So you have to draw that boundary immediately. You have to
Okay.
draw that line. Because even just an ordinary relationship, like we have this one that is common in our country. When they call you, the first thing they ask, where are you? Where are
Oh,
every time, where are
yes.
you? That is controlling already. Where are
Hmm.
you? Where are you? Where are you? You don't trust the person. That's why you are asking, where are you? Where are you? Because if you trust the person, you are not supposed to be asking that question like 1,001 times.
Hmm.
So most of us don't know that that thing is like you are trying to control somebody. They think is I like you, that's why I'm doing it. No, it's not like, because you check yourself. You've done it 1,001 time in a day. That is controlling.
Yeah.
That is controlling. That's a red flag. When somebody just immediately put in that thing, you just start seeing somebody now. Maybe the first time you go out on a date, the next day he starts saying you this kind of, you should start suspecting what is going on. What is going on? Some people even see the opportunity before they even get married, and they choose to still go into the marriage.
Okay.
That's why sometimes in the marriage they end up coming out dead, because you saw the sign. Because you were desperate, you wanted to be with somebody, you felt
Yeah.
and also the ones that is inside the relationship, your partner belittle you to the extent that saying you are worthless. You are worthless, and that is why they will not come out. They feel, oh, if I leave, what will happen to me? I have
Mm-hmm.
children. I don't have any money. I don't know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
Then they kill you there. No, you shouldn't tolerate that. This is why I said we should start educating we should start educating our friends, our family, our children, everybody around us. We should start educating them about this thing. This thing should be like a topic for us to be learning,
Yes.
so that you will know it might not happen to you, it might happen to somebody closer to you. But if you are aware, you are educated, you don't have ignorance concerning domestic violence, you will see it when the other person is not seeing it, and call them to order immediately. So that is what my contribution to this.
Oh, thank you so much, my sister. Before I let you go, do you have like an advice you want to give to the whole world? I know you have just talked, but do you have an advice you want to give to us before we let you go?
My advice is that for those, especially those who are already in domestic violence, for
Yes.
some people have been living it for years,
Yes.
it's time to leave. It's time to get out. Don't feel that if I come out, where will I go? Who will help me? See, like we are, especially we Africans, we believe in God. The same God who gave you all
Yes.
the thing, we help you out when you come out.
Yes. Yes.
Recognize that you are being abused. If you
Yes.
recognize, first of all, accept it that you are in an abusive relationship.
Yes.
Convince yourself. When you convince yourself, you will have the mind to get out. That
Yeah.
this is not what I want. Most of you have dreams. Search yourself now. Am I living in that dream now?
Hmm.
Is it what I'm living in? Or is the opposite? If it's the opposite and that opposite is the abuse, come out. Don't say because of my children. See, you
Mm-hmm.
die there, your children will still live life. Your children will still live life with or without you. Your children will live. So it is better you save yourself. If you are feeling okay, talk to somebody first. If you don't want to come out, talk to somebody first, make a plan, and then you go. But if you are in that one that you are always being knocked every minute, I don't think you should be patient. You should come out immediately. Go to your family or go to your friends, look for, or if you don't even have anybody, see, if you can have access to finance, get the finance and leave that environment. Even if you have to live from that state to another state, do it. Do it. Don't be there and die, say my children, my, no, 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 no. If your mental health is okay, your children will live fine. You will enjoy those same children that you want to die for.
Yeah.
Well, because your children, even when they grow up, they will still feel bad. Why did my father or my mother didn't leave? I miss them now because
Mm-hmm.
you died there. They will still
Yeah.
feel it. So do what is right, protect your children, and you yourself be healthy in a relationship. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my sister Chelsea. I am so glad to have you, even though we didn't see your face. We are so happy to have you full time. Not typing
Thank you
on
so
the screen,
much.
but hearing your voice again, being our guest. I love you so much, sister. Thank you for your
Thank you for the
contribution.
opportunity.
And yes, I hope that your voice will help at least one person out there who is in a domestic violence. So I will let you go now, sister, because I know where you are is already
All right.
night and you got to run. I love you so much from my heart. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much. Thank you for the
Okay.
opportunity.
Thank you so much
Good
and
evening.
bye for now. Thank you. So, my beautiful people, our guest, Miss Chelsea, is done talking to us. You know, um, I have to finish my story before I leave. Remember, I told you that when Pius choked my neck, that was when I said it was it, and I called the police. And the woman asked me, do you have any documents, any children with him that you need to take to go? I said, no. He said, now you need to leave. They got all his information. And I ran. And I thought that was the end of that violence. I thought I was safe. I thought that now I am safe. I was gone. But never did I know that that was just the beginning of my nightmare. Let me see who is here. Oh, yes, I met you, Paul. First time I watched this video last, I can't get myself. I thank God for her life. Thank you. Oh, John Friday, you are welcome. Good evening, my good evening, my darling. You are welcome. Uncle her Bridget. Oh, my uncle her Bright. Good evening, class, and my sister Christy. I'm here enjoying this program. More progress. Oh, that is my elder sister. Her name is Bridget, not Bright. is bright, is Bridget, not bright. Yeah, I have to pronounce it to the end because that is my sister. I know her. So, sister, you are welcome. I'm so happy to see you. So, we are talking about domestic violence. So, as I was talking, like the first video we all saw, the woman said that the worst time is to leave. The worst time when death occur, when your spouse want to kill you, that person who is violating you, when that person wants to kill you, is when you want to leave. I showed us 3 videos today. This is to show you how important and how personal domestic violence is related to me. Okay, I never showed the video, but today I did this. The first woman we never saw, she said she doesn't look like a victim. But emotionally, just imagine yourself, having gun put on your head. That emotional trauma, I don't know how she deals with it every day by day, living with it day by day. And she's happy today. She's married to someone who loved her for 20 years. But she still talks about that violence, that experience she experienced with that person who violated her at first. And she said that first time this abuse happened was 5 days to their wedding. I know in her head she's like, oh, I'll change him. It's the stress of preparing for marriage. And he said she endured this abuse for 2.5 years. It doesn't matter how long you have been in that abusive relationship. She said, today, she have her husband, she have her kids, she have her education. But one thing she will refuse to have is a loaded gun held on her head. A loaded gun on her head. She will never, never have that again because she walked out of that relationship, because she started talking to someone. She started talking to mother, brother, sister, friends, relatives, police, everyone. She stopped dying in silence, like I was opportune to call the police. My family were not around me. So even if I talk to my family, it will make no difference. So I started with the police first. I know that a lot of people don't start with talking to the police, but start talking to someone. Is someone abusing you? It depends on what you think is not abuse and love. Like our sister told us, the types: financial abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse, even spiritual abuse. The one the pastors, mostly the pastors, the imams, the one they abuse the members, the gullible members, extorting money from someone, telling you that if you do this, God will kill you, or God will do this to you. Holding people hostage in their mind in the name of worship, in the name of serving God. Spiritual abuse. I stand against any kind of abuse, be it spiritual or physical or financial, any kind of abuse. I stand against it. That's why I am speaking against it. I was a victim, and I hope my voice will help someone out from that abusive relationship today. I thought I was gone, and now I had to move from the whole state of Illinois. The whole state of Illinois. People think that Chicago is a state. No, Chicago is just a city. The state is Illinois. I moved. I moved to another state. I remember I was in a patient's room. My phone rang because it was Pius. He called me after 2 years, because that is the most difficult time to live. I made sure I did not tell him. Nobody knew I was moving. I ran for my life. But one day my phone rang. I omitted something. One day I was at home while I was in Chicago. Someone knocked at the door. Behold, it was Pius. I didn't know. I didn't have the security hole to see. And I didn't buzz him in, because before you come into my apartment, I need to buzz you in. But maybe he came after someone came in, so I wouldn't know he was coming. Knock the door. I said, who was that? I opened the door. I wasn't expecting anybody, but I thought it was my friend for 15 years. I opened the door. It was him. I was scared because I was living by myself then. I didn't know why he was there. If he could choke me the first time, I didn't know. I was so scared. That was why I had to move. I have to run from the whole state to another state. He came in. He sugarcoated all his words. Oh, I know, I'm sorry over this. I'm sorry over that. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Yes, as a woman, I wanted to be moved, but I thank God for his cousin in Boston, in Philadelphia. When I called them and said, your cousin Pius was here, he said, my sister, you never come out there. They are from Edo State. That's why I'm speaking the way they speak their pidgin. You never run. Waiting Pius find you come. After how many years? Waiting he find you come. My sister, our hands no dey there. That was how I was start thinking of moving to go to a different state for school. So when I opened the door, he came in. I was scared. I was scared of my life, because then I don't see him as a lover anymore. If you could choke me, you can kill me. What if I die that day? What if I have a pre-existing condition? Maybe I had a lung problem or something, and you choke breath out of me, and I die. You know? So from that day, I start seeing him as someone who could kill. Guess what? This guy came in, wanted to violate my body forcefully. I said, no, this will not happen, or I'll call the police. And that was how he left. And I started picking my things. Thank God I got admission in another state. I ran. I hope my story will help someone out there today. Did I tell you I got a call after 2 years? And later, when I got married, I was already right here. Because I moved to another, after my schooling, I moved to another state. Behold, one day, after I was married, my phone rang. He got a message that I was married. Like that first video. Please, if you missed the beginning of this video, this program, please go back and watch it. Go back. Today is very, very personal to me. So the woman said that when she got married, when you get married, because they have set in their head, if I don't have you, no one else will have you. My phone rang. I was like, who was calling me? Because I've deleted everything about Pius. My phone rang. I picked the call. I don't usually pick unknown numbers, but I don't know for a reason I picked that call. He said, Christy, I hear say you dey marry. Where your husband dey? Blah, blah, blah. Controlling me, control someone you didn't see. I said, I told him where my husband was, and he said, you dey craze? You dey craze? Why you go? I said, this is after many years. Why will you marry him, Christy? Why will you? I said, that was when I told him, Pius, I don't have anything to do with you anymore. You don't have to tell me what to do or what not to do. As a matter of fact, you have choked me when you choked me. Today, I have an education, because when I wanted him to co-sign for me to go to school to become a nurse, he told me that I was crazy. He had an excellent credit, but I didn't have, and I needed his help. He didn't do that. I said, today, I have gotten that education. Today, I've gotten husband. I've gotten family. I've gotten life. I'm living the best life. I am living my best life. But Pius, like this woman said, she had everything. But Pius, you know one thing I will never want to have again from you is you controlling my life and you choking my neck. These two things, you will never, never do it to me again. And I have refused to get that from you. So, to everyone who is at the sound of my voice this morning, afternoon, evening, depending on your time, where you are watching me from, I am begging of you, when you watch this video again, if you are in America, there is a hotline to call if you think you are in domestic violence. We did it here last year. We saved a lady. If you want to, if you were not there, go to Lean on Me with Christiano Keke and search for the video that said, my husband treats me like an animal. Go and watch that video. Today, that lady is liberated. And now she's married to a person who respects her and loves her and never violated her like her first husband was. My sister said the best time to run is now. Because you see, these people, they think they have power and control over you. That is the abuser. They see you as their properties. To them, you are just a property. Like the way they own their car, own their clothes, own their shoes. That is how you are to them. You are just a property to them. Refuse to be a property to anybody. Yes, my sister said, why people stay? Because the first thought is, where will I be? You think, oh, if I leave now, where will I go? And she told you that person, that God who kept you till you met that abuser, will keep you after you leave. Don't sit down and say, oh, let me stay for my kids. Because, like, according to Chelsea, she said, when you die, or if you die, when your children grows up, they will still think, but why didn't daddy or why didn't mommy leave when they knew that daddy or mommy was abusing them? I miss my mother. I miss my father. But you are gone. That children that you stayed for, they will still blame you. You will keep because you hurt them. If you had walked away, there will be a visitation. Today, This week might be your turn to stay with them. Next week will be their turn, the husband turn to stay with the kids. And you live your best life where no one can ever put gun on your head, where no individual can ever choke your neck or abuse you financially again or verbally again. Please, if you think that you're a victim, you are going through it right now, please, wherever country you are, go to Google, search the hotline, call that hotline, and someone will help you walk away. I call the police and they help me walk away. Please call that hotline. I made it easier for our Nigerian folks. The hotline, the domestic line to call if you are in Nigeria and you think you are being abused in a relationship, regardless if you are a mother, father, brother, sister, child, please call this number if you are living in Nigeria. It's 080-921-00-009. I will take that number again. The number, if you are living in Nigeria and you think that someone is violating you, abusing you, or you are in a domestic violence relationship, call this number 080-921-00-009. And I will add my number to that. If you think you can reach on that number, please call +1832 973 9937 and I will help you put the call across. If you live in the United States, please, very easy. Just go to Google, type there, hotline number is already on this video. When you watch it back, it's there. Do not allow any man or any woman to abuse you one more day. One time is enough of the abuse. One time. Don't give it a second chance. Don't think you're gonna change anybody. You can't change anybody. An abuser is an abuser. According to the statistics, about 15 million children, only children alone, about 15 million children are being abused every year. So that means, as we are talking, a child is being abused right now. If you're a neighbor, that's why I love this Western world where I live. Even before you get to a phone, if you can't get to a phone, a neighbor will help you call. Just at hearing a noise, they will call the police. And yeah, it's better you are wrong, but save that life. When you think your neighbor, you are seeing some unusual movement, unusual happening in your neighbor's house, please, it's better you are wrong at last, but just call the police. Let the police check on that family member. Know if that family member is good or not. Or that friend, or that neighbor, or that elderly woman living by herself who have a caregiver taking care of her. You see something strange. You see bruises on that elderly woman. Please call the police. It's better you are wrong, but call the police. It's better to be safe than to be sorry. Oh, I saw that black eye on that old lady, but I thought she fell. No, call the police. Let the police be the determinant if that person fell or not. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me on today's program. And I want to add this. If you are in a relationship and you are afraid of your spouse when you see your spouse, like you are just scared when you see your spouse, my dear, start thinking about leaving right now. You shouldn't be scared of your spouse. You should be welcoming when you see your spouse. When things start escalating, things that doesn't supposed to escalate, start escalating, my dear, you're already almost there. Please don't let yourself to be killed by anyone. Start talking to someone today. Start talking to a sister today. Start talking to a friend today. Start talking to your pastor today. I didn't want to add the pastors, your clergy. I didn't want to add them because I think most of them are causing more harm today, breaking marriages and breaking homes, even abusing us spiritually. But talk to the good ones if you have a good pastor. Talk to them. Talk to your teachers, students. If you are in school, talk to your teachers. Talk to your nurses. Talk to someone. And if you're opportune like me, call the police. And with that, I said, remember, you are unstoppable. And your voices must always be heard. If you see something that is not right, or you just assume this person might be in an abused home or abused relationship, please say something, because you never can tell whose life you will change or save for saying that something is wrong. And with that, remember, I love you all, especially my guest speaker today, Chelsea Brown. Thank you so much, sister, for letting your voice heard about domestic violence. I love you all yesterday. I love you all today. And remember, I will always love you.